Hello, my name is Marcus Brown, and I'm an Assistant Director for Academic and Membership Affairs. Welcome to the world of 2-4 transfers. In this presentation, we will evaluate 2-4 transfer requirements specifically for competition. We'll look at the applicable progress towards degree requirements for those incoming transfer student athletes, and also provide best practice suggestions. Evaluating transfers for applicable legislation. The first step when evaluating a transfer student athlete is determine when he or she triggered initial full-time enrollment. These two questions will provide guidance to determine if or when the student athlete triggered initial full-time enrollment. So ask yourself, did the student athlete register as a full-time student athlete for a regular term? And did he or she attend a class or classes on the first day of the term? The answers to these two questions will help to determine the applicable legislation for the respective transfer student athlete. Some important things to remember when evaluating transfers are that transcripts do not necessarily tell the student athlete's entire story. Knowing initial full-time enrollment helps to set the basis for more than just transfer and progress towards degree criteria. And lastly, it also helps to determine when the student athlete started their 5-year clock. There are other ways a student athlete can trigger transfer status. Some examples are listed below. Did the student athlete practice or compete while enrolled less than full-time? Did he or she receive institutional financial aid while attending a summer term? Did he or she report for regular squad practice prior to the beginning of a term? It is possible for a student athlete to trigger transfer status without triggering initial full-time enrollment or the use of a term for progress towards degree purposes. It is encouraged that you utilize your resources when trying to find transfer status. Some examples are listed below. Another resource that is not listed should be to utilize your colleagues at your institution, colleagues across the country to help when evaluating transfers for the applicable legislation. Listed below are the competition requirements for 2-4 transfer student athletes. You may notice the transfer requirements differ based on the student athlete's qualifier status. A non-qualifier academic redshirt student athlete must meet the following criteria to be immediately eligible. He or she must graduate from the 2-year college, be enrolled a minimum of 3 full-time terms, earn a minimum of 48 hours at a semester institution, and earn a minimum of 72 hours at a quarter institution. He or she must earn core credit hours in English, math, and science. And he or she must earn a 2.5 transferable GPA. However, a qualifier must meet the following criteria. Be enrolled a minimum of 1 full-time term at the 2-year institution. Average 12 transferable hours per full-time term of enrollment. And earn a 2.5 transferable GPA. If the student athlete does not meet the qualifier status, he or she must meet the non-qualifier status in order to be immediately eligible. Transfer student athletes are limited to 2 credit hours of physical education activity credits that can be applied towards the credit hour and transfer GPA requirements. One common mistake when calculating transfer GPA is to calculate the number of courses as opposed to the number of hours. Please keep in mind that transfer student athletes are limited to 2 credit hours of PE activity credit. One common mistake when calculating transfer GPA is that the number of courses are calculated as opposed to the number of hours. Keep in mind, when calculating the credit hours, you are limited to only 2 hours, not 2 courses. Additionally, Non-qualifiers and academic redshirt student athletes are limited in the amount of summer credits that can apply to the credit hour and core course requirement. Steps to calculating transfer GPA are listed below. Add all credits that transfer from all two-year colleges attended. Add any credits that would have transferred but did not due to an insufficient grade. For example, any failed courses or courses that did not meet the C threshold. Subtract physical education activity credits that exceed the 2-credit limit. Keep in mind, for repeated classes, use the grade from the most recent attempt. Ignore any institutional credit caps in this calculation. NCAA 2.4 transfer GPA may be different than the school's 2.4 GPA calculations. For 4.24 transfers, only use credits earned from the 2-year college after the student athlete transfers from the initial 4-year institution to calculate the 2.4 transfer GPA. When evaluating transfer student athletes, do not forget the prior storage degree requirements a student athlete must satisfy. Transfer requirements include examples listed below. The requirements differ based on the number of full-time terms a student athlete has completed. When evaluating transfer student athletes, transcripts are extremely important. As you can see, it is written multiple times. Preferably, official transcripts shall be utilized when evaluating those student athletes. All 2.4 transfer evaluation forms should include core courses, physical activity credits, and the transfer GPA. It's recommended to maintain regular communication with the registrar's office and/or the certifying official at your institution, and limit any offers of aid to transfer student athletes until a preliminary evaluation is complete, again, utilizing official transcripts preferably. Provide preliminary transfer evaluations in writing to the coaching staff and student athlete, and keep this information documented throughout the process. All transfer criteria must be satisfied prior to triggering transfer status. Therefore, be aware of any end dates of non-traditional coursework being completed by the student athlete. Complete a final transfer evaluation in writing to the coaching staff and the student athlete before the student athlete triggers transfer status at the certifying institution. Listed below are links for additional resources regarding transfers. These links will help institutional staff to navigate the process of evaluating transfers and calculating transfer GPA. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact a member of the AMA staff. Thank you very much.